A taxi union has called off a strike next month after a meeting with transport officials and representatives from ride-hailing services. The government has successfully sold its first residential land parcel in the year of the snake, with Sun Hung Kai Properties paying $602 million for the plot in Tung Chung. And Peter Lam returns to take charge of the tourism board, while former Commerce Chief Frederick Ma will take over the reins of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council. Good evening, you're now watching Cable News. I'm Cheryl Yun. The taxi trade has called off a 5-day citywide strike scheduled for next month after transport officials pledged to crack down on illegal ride-hailing services in a meeting this morning. Evelyn Bai reports.
The meeting between government advisors and taxi representatives focused on regulating ride-hailing platforms, which was the reason behind a potential strike. The Hong Kong Telecall Taxi Association has previously threatened to strike on March 5th, urging the government to combat their unlicensed rivals. After the meeting, Wong Yu Ting, chairman of the association, expressed their satisfaction with the outcomes, as the Transport Department committed to stepping up enforcement against illegal ride-hailing services.
喺呢度我正式宣布，呢個議題呢，我哋係會停止。
I officially announced that the planned strike will be stopped, and I apologized to the public for unease due to leaked documents that inadvertently raised concerns, Wong said. Commissioner for Transport Angela Lee reiterated that the government has always acted in accordance with the law.
Actually, we do have legislation clearly stipulating that carriage of passengers with private cars without relevant hire car permits is an illegal act. And police departments, being the enforcement departments, have been taking relevant enforcement actions through different means, including responding or following up with reports or complaints. And they also launched their proactive and intelligence-based enforcement actions.
Lee also pledged to establish a regulatory framework for ride-hailing platforms by the end of the year. While representatives from ride-hailing platforms were not given a chance to have direct dialogues with the taxi trade, they met with the Transport Advisory Committee in a separate meeting, only to express their wish to coexist with the taxi industry.
We believe that a balanced and sustainable regulatory framework will allow taxis and ride-sharing to coexist for the benefit of all Hong Kongers, for Hong Kongers to have more choice when it comes to point-to-point transportation. We believe it's really important to protect the flexibility.
Sun Hung Kai Properties beat 3 other bidders to snatch a residential plot in Tung Chung at the highest bid of $602 million. With a maximum gross floor area of 401,000 square feet, the land is priced at $1,500 per square feet, meeting estimation. The plot drew 4 bidders when its tender closed last Friday after the government laxed some of the terms. The site was originally put on the market in 2023, but was withdrawn as bids were judged to be underwhelming. Sun Hung Kai Properties noted that the plot comes with a vast sea view. It is easy to design and close to MTR stations. In addition, the government has reduced the number of units required to be built, yielding more flexibility in future flat selling. The developer aims to build mainly small and medium-sized flats, with total investment estimated to be around $3.5 billion. In a reshuffle within the city's commerce and tourism sectors, the government has reappointed Peter Lam, chairman of the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, to head the Hong Kong Tourism Board starting April 1st, marking his return to the city's tourism body after 6 years. Meanwhile, the reins of the TDC will be passed on to former Commerce Chief Frederick Ma. Evelyn Bai has more details.
Outgoing Tourism Board Chairman Pang Yu Kai will complete his second 3-year term on March 31st, having reached the government's maximum tenure for public office. The position will be handed over to veteran businessman Peter Lam, who is reassuming leadership at the board after formerly serving as chairman from 2013 to 2019. Tourism Secretary Rosanna Law expressed confidence that Lam can lead the board in showcasing the city's charm worldwide, with his extensive experiences in business management and public services. With a career spanning politics, business, and entertainment, the 67-year-old is the chairman of Lyson Group and founder of Media Asia Entertainment Group. He has also been a member of the Standing Committee of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference since 2018. Under Lam's stewardship, the TDC has actively promoted the city in the Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau Greater Bay Area and emerging markets under the Belt and Road Initiative, according to the Commerce Chief Algernon Yao. The change in leadership comes as the SAR government is focusing on boosting the city's economy through commerce and tourism sectors. Meanwhile, Frederick Ma, former commerce minister and ex-chairman of the MTR Corporation, will assume the role of chairman of the TDC. With a wealth of experience in both public and corporate sectors, the 72-year-old business leader will be leading the Council in Trade and Investment for a 2-year term, amid the backdrop of ongoing global trade tensions. Evelyn Bai, Cable News.
To curb drug wastage and enhance patient safety, the hospital authority has introduced a new medication dispensing policy, limiting prescriptions to a maximum 24-week supply per visit at public clinics and hospitals. The policy takes effect on March 24th. Quentin Yang has more details.
Announcing the new policy, HA's chief pharmacist William Trey said the policy targets the growing problem of unused or excess medication piling up in patients' homes, while emphasizing that the approach is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Under the new arrangement, patients requiring more than 24 weeks' worth of medication will need to return for follow-up visits to collect the remainder in phases. Trey explained that the new measures aim to tackle 3 key areas: reducing drug wastage, enhancing patient safety, and improving therapeutic outcomes. He noted that some patients, particularly the elderly, often stockpile medications, leading to unnecessary waste. Additionally, the policy will introduce a new supply model for as-needed medications, such as painkillers and paracetamol, which are often prescribed in excessive quantities. However, some patient advocates expressed concerns about the policy's impact on elderly and mobility-impaired individuals. In response, Trey stressed that a long-term goal of the policy is to integrate community pharmacies and pharmacists into the healthcare system. Under this model, patients would receive their initial prescription from the HA and subsequent refills from local pharmacies, making it easier for them to seek advice and resolve medication-related issues, Trey said. The HA plans to review the policy after 3 months of implementation and make adjustments as needed. Quentin Ya, Cable News.
The Democratic Party, once the largest force in the city's opposition camp, is on the brink of dissolution after 3 decades of activism, as its leadership prepares to hold a critical meeting to determine its fate tomorrow. Quentin Yang tells us more.
Democratic Party Chairman Lo King-hei has confirmed that the Central Committee will convene tomorrow to discuss the party's future, including the possibility of disbandment. At a press conference today, Lo avoided direct answers about dissolution, but acknowledged ongoing internal debates. Our discussions have no restrictions. If any decision is made, we'll strictly follow the party constitution, he said. The potential disbandment follows years of dwindling political influence and financial strain. The party, which held 0 seats in both the Legislative Council and District Councils after the 2019 social unrest, has struggled to secure funding and retain members. Lo admitted the party's survival space has narrowed drastically, with active members and resources far fewer than before. If the day comes, we can only face it, he said. If dissolved, the Democratic Party's remaining assets, including its headquarters in Prince Edward, a self-owned property, will be liquidated. Founded in 1994 through a merger of the United Democrats of Hong Kong and the Meeting Point, The Democratic Party once dominated legislative debates as a vocal advocate for civil liberties. Quentin Ya, Cable News.
A tragic collision in East Guangxi province early this morning claimed 6 lives and injured 2 others after a minivan crashed into a semi-trailer truck. The accident occurred around 5 a.m. on a national highway in Tengxian County, Wuzhou City. Online footage shows that authorities temporarily closed the area for investigation. 4 occupants of the minivan died instantly at the scene, while 2 others later succumbed to injuries despite emergency efforts. 2 individuals inside the truck sustained minor injuries, according to local Public Security Bureau. An investigation into the cause of the crash is currently ongoing. After announcing 25% tariffs on the imports of steel and aluminium, which take effect next month, U.S. President Donald Trump has identified other sectors on which he plans to impose further levies. Without providing details, Trump said he plans to slap 25% tariffs on automobiles, semiconductor and pharmaceutical imports as early as April. Sachin Kadvi reports.
Not specifying whether the measures would target specific countries or apply to all vehicles imported to the U.S., Trump's plan seems to be leaning towards widening the trade war beyond China. His stakes are high globally as car makers from Mexico, Europe, South Korea and Japan could be severely affected with the new tariffs. Chip makers Samsung Electronics and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, 2 big players in Asia, are also in the firing line. Industry experts and analysts have warned that the additional levies would have broader ripple effects on the global economy. Beijing has condemned Trump's actions and already lodged a complaint with the World Trade Organization earlier this month over a new 10% tariff on Chinese imports to the U.S. China's ambassador to the global trade body said the U.S. is blatantly violating WTO rules and the tariffs threaten to upend the rules-based multilateral trading system. Sachin Kadvi, Cable News.
Pope Francis has developed pneumonia in both lungs, which has further complicated his medical condition. The leader of the Roman Catholic Church spent a 5th night in hospital, where he is reportedly said to be in stable condition. A small group of well-wishers gathered outside the Gemelli Hospital in Rome, where the 88-year-old pontiff is undergoing treatment. Francis was admitted last Friday to treat a respiratory infection, but chest scans done yesterday have revealed the onset of bilateral pneumonia. The Pope is prone to chest infections after the upper lobe of his right lung was removed when he was 21 years old. Despite the illness, the Vatican said the Holy Father is in good spirits and spent the day reading, resting and praying. As the Catholic Church celebrates its Jubilee, which occurs every 50 years, many public events on the Pope's calendar have been cancelled due to his frail health. Banking giant HSBC, the largest commercial lender in Hong Kong, has reported a 2% profit growth for last year. The revenue was below market expectations, and the bank has announced a new $2 billion US share buyback. The London-based bank reported a pre-tax profit of $32.3 billion US, up from $30.3 billion last year, while net profit rose 2.2% to $22.9 billion from $22.4 billion a year earlier. Europe's largest bank's Hong Kong revenue, along with its subsidiary Hang Seng Bank, swelled 9.5% with a pre-tax profit of $11.69 billion in 2024, compared with $10.67 billion in the previous year. Chief Executive Georges El-Hedjari, who took over the reins of the bank last September, also announced a plan to generate $1.5 billion of cost savings by the end of next year. HSBC will focus more on Asian markets and will restructure, a move which is likely to cost the bank $1.8 billion in severance and other upfront costs. And now let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down 32 points. Top 10 active stocks, Tencent was down $5.70. SMIC was up $4. Meituan was down $5.20. Hua Hong Semiconductor was up $7.15. On to the weather now. Mainly cloudy, sunny intervals during the day tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 16 and 20 degrees. Moderate to fresh easterly winds, occasionally strong offshore overnight. And that's our news tonight. I'm Cheryl Yun. Thanks for watching and good night.